Well, thank you for that wonderful introduction that I wrote. You did great. So it's kind of funny listening to all that, because I have to tell you that when I was younger, growing up, and even through my early adulthood, I wasn't much of a joiner. I didn't like to join clubs or organizations or Girl Scouts or even extracurricular activities. Believe it or not, I was very shy and introverted. I knew I had to pause for that. But contrary to what you may think, all through school, as much as I pretty much came out of the womb wanting to be a lawyer, I was very, very unsure and very, very reserved, and didn't even join the debate team or student council or anything like that. The idea of being around anybody outside of my family or my close friends absolutely petrified me. But there is one exception, and since we're in California, my home state, I do have to share one little story with you. So my sister Julie, who some of you have met, is and was the exact opposite. She was very, very outgoing, large circle of friends, cheerleader, pageants, you name it. So my mom decided that she just wanted me to put myself out there, step outside my comfort zone just once. So when I was 7, she bribed me with a kitten and $10 worth of video quarters to at least enter a pageant. So I'm happy to tell you all that standing before you is in fact 1983's California's Little Miss Beauty and Charm. And I know what you're thinking, not much has changed. So as much as I was terrified of putting myself out there, I had big dreams. And I remember walking around my home in Burch, California, just thinking, I'm special, I'm really meant for something, I'm really meant to make a difference. But as much as I was driven for that, I still did not put myself out there. It was never my desire, even youth groups, just name it, and I was terrified. So the fact that I'm standing up here before you after listening to that bio and as one of your past national presidents is something that I could have never imagined that I would become. 12 years ago, I relocated from DC, where I attended law school, and I moved back to Dallas to start my own law practice. And I'll tell you, some of you knew me then, I was very scared and very guarded. But I had big dreams. We're here to talk about dreams today, and I had big dreams. And I always wanted to make an impact and make a difference. So I joined lots of groups, lots of networking events, went to lots of meetings, and it was so outside my comfort zone. But I had seen my mom successfully build 2 different businesses, attending ABWA events, networking, and so that was the way I knew how to do it. But I'll tell you, I sat in my car before every meeting, waiting till the last possible minute to go in. A lot of the times I was on the phone with my sister for a pep talk, and at the last minute I'd take a deep breath and open the door, and I'd go in, and I come from a family of performers, so we know how to fake it till you make it, and I would do my thing. But I would leave just completely petrified. But I'll tell you, all through that time, putting myself out there, it did scare me to death. But when I pushed myself, because that was the only shot I had of making something of myself, gradually, and some of you may have experienced this, you begin to get a little bit more comfortable. You suddenly start making friends in the room, so when you walk in, you gravitate towards them. And because I was there to network a business, I actually started getting referrals and getting comfortable, and actually found that I never initially dreamed that it would be doing wills and trusts. I just wanted to help people, but I found that actually was my calling, at least my calling at the time. And so I started gaining more business, having more business success, joining groups, and even people started asking me to take on leadership roles. And I remember one time, not too long into my tenure into ABWA, that it was time, and we just passed this time of year, where they were talking about needing people on the board for the local group. And I thought, well, maybe I should do that. So I walked up to the incoming president at that time, the president-elect at the time, Lorie Orlando, and I told her, I said, I might try, wanting to be on one of those positions on the board. And she had this little smirk on her face, and she said, yeah, I think that's a good idea. I could even see you maybe as president of our group one day. I looked at her like she had 3 heads. The idea that I would be president of our local league, that was just insane. But I thought, you know what? I'm starting to feel a little bit more comfortable and confident in taking leaps, so let's do it. So I joined the board. About a year later, top 10 time came around, and for those who aren't familiar, that is one of our biggest recognition programs in ABWA, where leagues throughout the country are able to nominate a woman in their league for a top 10 businesswoman, and then those go to a panel at our headquarters in Kansas City, and they're reviewed, and every year the top 10 businesswomen in the nation are selected. And you saw earlier, but it does not get to be announced enough, that we just got our slate of top 10s, and we have a 2017 top 10 businesswoman, Gina Glover, right here in our midst. So as much as I was making inroads and feeling a little bit more confident putting myself out there, I was still very guarded, still very, very reserved, not real sure about putting it all out there. But when I was nominated by my league and I had to fill out that application, which I think a lot of us have filled out that application, I came to a crossroads in my life, and I had to be very honest and forthcoming about the work that I did, the fact that a lot of the work that I did was in the LGBT community, a community that I was in fact a part of, and I had never been really brave enough, I think, for lack of a better word, that's the one, to really just be candid about that in a non-LGBT organization. I took a deep breath and I filled out that application, and I remember hitting send. Now this was just to my local group, and walking into the meeting the next time, seeing the people who just got that, not even knowing how they were gonna respond to me. This was so huge. And I remember like, oh, hey Lorie, how you doing? Good to see ya. Like it was nothing. Like, all right, that's pretty cool. And then when they announced Open's top 10 nominee, wouldn't you know that that they named me? And I thought, wow, that's really neat that I was going to be my league's top 10 nominee. So later that summer, I'm sitting in my office, and I've got caller ID, and the national president that year was Vicki Marlette, who's also in Dallas. So it's not anything for her to give me a call, but I always feel like it's probably trouble coming. But she called me, and the excitement in her voice I will never forget. And she told me that I was, in fact, a top 10 businesswoman of ABWA. And so it was interesting, because remember, I'm not a joiner. And believe it or not, at that time, I never even attended a conference. I came to my local meetings, I did my thing, I networked my business, but now I was going to have to go to national conference. And I was going to have to get up on stage and give a speech in front of 500 plus women, and I was going to have to tell them all about me, and everything that I've done and gone through and all of that. And so I did, and I'll tell you, it's the coolest thing, Gina. I can't wait for you to experience it this year, because they give you these long ribbons when you're a top 10. Now, mind you, some people who are top 10s, I mean, they're sitting on the current board, they get it, they've been around, they've done it, but I was still relatively new to ABWA, and I still perceived the room as a room of strangers that I needed to be guarded from. But I remember walking into that conference, I got my badge, and people I had no idea who they were come up, hug me, congratulations. I didn't know who these people were. I felt, and it started here, so you have your own selves to blame, like a rock star. So I thought, wow, this isn't so bad, but they haven't heard my speech yet. So I remember when we got around time to get up on our speeches, and again, I had to be very candid about the work that I do, who I am, what motivates me, what my dreams are. And instead of it being complete silence and seeing tumbleweeds blow by, everybody stood, some with tears in their eyes, clapping for me. And in that moment, rather than this place that I had to be guarded and reserved and hide who I am from, became my safe place, my family, my sisterhood. And now when I walk into the room, I own it, right? You're my people. But it really was a huge turning point for who I am. And I don't know what I could have become if it weren't for being embraced, if it weren't for joining, if it weren't for being part of something bigger than myself. for being vulnerable, for being honest and authentic, for being a part of something that I couldn't imagine. And so I told you, I promise you that I am naturally introverted and shy.
Really?
But after that experience, and I'll tell you, I have to tell you one of the most critical turning points was that night at the banquet, a woman came up to me, and I did not even remember who it was because I was still new, remember? But she revealed herself to me a year ago, so I know who it is. But she came up to me and grabbed my shoulders and said, "Thank you for what you do and what you do for my daughter." And that was the moment where I said, all of this being afraid and being guarded, who am I missing out on who wants to support me or has people who want to support me or possibly maybe has an open heart in mind to just accept people who come from different walks of life, who have different experiences. It doesn't mean that we have to agree or see eye to eye, but just that we say, you know what, you have a place at this table. You belong. And so when I was approached about running for the national board, again, something I never would have thought of. How could I turn that opportunity down to give back to a group that had essentially changed my life, revolutionized, reinvented me, but more allowed me to become who I had hoped to become, but never really knew was possible. So I did, and I'll tell you, being on the national board has been one of the most exhilarating experiences. And being the national president of you crazy ladies is truly one of the greatest honors. I mean, I hope, I celebrate a significant birthday this year, but I hope that I'm still somewhat young and have a lot more to give in this world. But I still think on my dying day, being the national president will be one of the greatest honors of my life. And I look back with that experience, and I think, why did I spend all that time holding back? What was it? And sure, it was that I am shy and introverted, but I think it was more than that. When you become a part of something, no matter how big of dreams you may have or how much you want to do in your life, to really join and put that out there, it's a scary thing. And I don't think I wanted to risk the doubts and the naysayers or people not seeing the amazing person that I thought I was. So that's how I started out. So I have to think when I am invited to a meeting like this, an event like this, how the heck did I get here? And we talk about the theme is igniting your dreams. And so this is, I tell you all of that for this. I'm not going to stand here today to tell you that I have any secrets or that I know anything. But I'll tell you what I have learned and what I believe with every fiber of my being is that if you truly want to live a dream, ignite the fire in your dream, you need to join. You need to be part of something bigger than yourself. You need to be a reflection of the potential that the person sitting next to you can have. And it was crazy to me, but you quarter yourself off away because I was just focused and I'm going to make something of myself. But it was actually through opening up and seeing reflections of other people that your dreams can actually be realized through the eyes of others. Now, yes, I believe that I've had some success with hard work, determination, and faith, but I know for a fact that I would have never accomplished anything that I have yet so far if it weren't for the support and sisterhood that I found, as much as I hate to say it, by joining. And when you do that, when you sit around and think about dreams, it's easy, and because it's not a reality, it's not concrete. But when you actually push yourself outside that comfort zone and be a part of something, get into leadership, get involved, maybe support someone else and be a reflection for them of what they didn't even know they can become, your dreams can actually turn from just a vision into a reality. And so when I first came to ABWA, that's all I had was a dream. But the reflection that I started to see of myself in your eyes, and looking at Joanne and Dee, who I just newly at top 10, they were already telling me that they wanted me to run for president. not of ABWA, of the United States. And so I'm sitting looking at you ladies after the end of one chapter. I don't want to say the end of a journey, because life is always a journey, but looking at you. And sometimes you just have to stop and think, who did you see? But you all actually accepted me in a way that I had yet to accept myself. And you saw potential in me that I didn't even really know I had. As much as I did believe in myself, I never believed that I could be half of what you ladies saw. And that's the power of getting involved. That's the dream. When I think about our mission statement, which I think is so much more of a mission, not just for one little organization, but for life. Our mission, what is it? To bring together business women of diverse occupations and to provide opportunities for them to help themselves and others. If you know it, I want to hear it. To grow personally and professionally through leadership, education, networking support, and national recognition. And some of my favorite parts of that mission is to bring together and to provide opportunities to help ourselves and others grow. That is our mission, not just in this room, but in our daily lives. Now, I joined ABWA to network in business. I had no idea what I was getting myself into, which is how it happens for all of us, right? But the common thread when I start talking to members who have been a part of this association for years or decades, half a century, is that they stay for the sisterhood, for the support system. But what does that mean? Does that mean getting together and having wine and drinking? No. Well, yes, sometimes. But it's what I'm talking about. It's the difference that you can make when you feel interconnected to each other and believe that our mission is to help each other and ourselves. And it's so beyond ABWA. It's at home, it's in our work, it's in our lives. One thing I love about our association, we hear this all the time, is I hope you hear it all the time, is we believe in meeting women where they are. All of us still have an opportunity to become a better version of ourselves. It's not about being polished and perfect and professional walking into the room. It's wherever you are, we're going to meet you and we're going to help you go from there, wherever it is. When ABWA found me, I was scared and heartbroken, but filled with hope and faith. But I was guarded and did not understand the value of joining. Our current national president, Lisa Bean, likes to tell the story of her first meeting. She showed up in a t-shirt and flip-flops. And now she's the national president of the nation's oldest, most prestigious professional women's association. On the flip side, we have my sister, who was already a very accomplished professional speaker and author. But she saw my experience and saw something in that and decided to get involved with the new formation in Dallas. And now she's taking on a leadership journey as well. So there is something for everybody, to meet everybody in this association. It's, sometimes I get worried about us caring so much about some end result, like how many people can we get at this event? But the point in us is we're a learning association, and it's about the process. It's about a safe place to learn soft skills, hard, whatever that is. To learn how to speak, to learn how to do Excel spreadsheets, which I still don't understand. To do newsletters, to be able to work in a team, so that when you go out there in your job or even at home, you're able to have those skills to better work. I know it doesn't even matter who's referred me business in ABWA. That's not what has helped me be successful in business. It's the confidence in the way that I can carry myself, and actually just the genuine strategies of marketing ideas. I mean, it's a full spectrum by joining and in getting involved. So we meet people where they are. So where are you today? Where is the person next to you today? What reflection can you provide to them to help push them to a better version of themselves, to help them create a dream or live a dream? I'll tell you, if that's not what we're here for, and I don't mean it here in ABWA, I mean what we're here for, then I really don't know what it is. I hope that the reason that we're here is to leave this world better than we found it, is to bring together diverse people and to provide opportunities to help themselves and others grow through each other. I don't know what we're doing it for if it's not that. And sometimes I look at myself and I think what a different person I am, but you know what, I'm not a different person. It's not it. I'm still the same Lorie. I've just grown. I've become a truer, more authentic version. And it's been through seeing myself through the eyes of others. Now, a lot of you know who follow me on Facebook that I've had some life changes in the last year. And part of that is coming in and being a step parent to and I'll fight you on this, two of the cutest kids on the planet. 11 and 6, Carly and Kaya. And so when I first met these girls, and it gets scary when your mother comes out in you. Maybe it's not scary for you, but it's terrifying for me. And I remember one of the first things I taught them, because my mom used to teach etiquette, was you don't point at people, you indicate. So I started, don't point, indicate. So they loved that, and the 6-year-old, who really doesn't pay attention to much of anything, for some reason that stuck. So I really wish I'd started with something more important than indicating. But she'd come home from kindergarten and say, the boys in my class, they point, they don't indicate. And so then we're eating, and it's about trying to teach her to use a fork, which, I mean, I can't believe how damn difficult it is to use a fork, but man, it just really confuses her. But it's like, you need to use a fork. You know, if we're gonna send you over to your friend's house or send you out to the world, you need to be polite and know to do that. So one day, she asks me, Lorie, why is it so important to you to be polite? And I'll tell you, have you ever had, I hear preachers talk about this, a Holy Ghost moment where something comes in you and you just come up with an answer that humanly you would have never been able to come up with. And so I had one of those moments because, boy, if you had told me I was going to be asked, well, why is it important to be polite? I don't know that I would have been able to come up with something, but I had a Holy Ghost moment where I said, you know what? Being polite is about being kind and respectful to other people, about showing them dignity. And regardless of who they are or how they act, no matter where they come from, that's really what it's about. And we talked today about, you know, political correctness, and it can run amok and all of that. But since when is it a bad thing to be kind and respectful and treat people with dignity? Since when did that go out of style? I don't get it. Because when you join, you feel interconnected. And I will leave you with this. We can all make a difference in this room when we join in and help each other to inspire them to bring out their dreams. And it can't just be in the words. It can't just be in reciting a mission statement or the golden rule. Our deeds must match our words in everything we do, at home, in work, in ABWA, and bigger. And don't think for a second that we can't actually make a difference. Because we've heard it, that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens don't think that they can't change the world, because indeed they're the only ones that have. Jane Goodall. So to quote my man Elvis, my favorite song, If I Can Dream, he ended with a statement of, while I can think, while I can talk, while I can stand, while I can walk, while I can dream. While we all can dream, let's be that reflection, let's join in, let's get other people in this room, and let's make this world a better place together. Let's make a difference. That, you want to talk about igniting a fire in your dream, then find out the person next to you. What reflection can you provide to them? Because darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Hate cannot drive out hate, only love can do that. Martin Luther King, right? Another king. What are two kings? So I will keep shining my light. I will keep showing love and respect to other people. That is how you ignite your dreams. That is how you make a difference. That's what you've done for me. Thank you so much today. Hats off to you. I appreciate you. Thank you for inviting me.